Haunted was long and grindy, but I think narratively it was one of the most important seasons Destiny has had because it is so unique in how it frames its narrative and the subject matter that it tackles. Haunted is about Callus and the Leviathan returning, but the ship is all sorts of fucked up, with Egregore everywhere. He's accepted the darkness, and is now using the power from the pyramid ship under the moon's surface. And this brings with it nightmares, the manifestation of those from the past in order to exploit you. And this season focuses on us trying to sever Callus's tie to this lunar pyramid. Led by Eris Morn, we spent 2 weeks with each Crow, Zavala, and Keitel, facing their personal nightmares. And what better way to face your inner demons than with a shit ton of guns? Crow's is Uldren Sov. His storyline is a continuation of Season of the Risens, with Crow dealing with the past actions of his former self. Since the moment Savathun told him about his past, he has been unable to separate where does Uldren stop and Crow begin. And in these first 2 weeks, he begins to think about why the light chose him, what he can do, and how he can use his past self's mistakes and triumphs in order to help Guardians today. Zavala's nightmare is his wife, Sophia. It preys on his grief and his sense of responsibility over losing his son. His son Hakim, who was killed by the Fallen Zavala recently allied with. He is conflicted and he is in pain, but that pain is all he has left of his son and his wife. And he blames himself for that death. He will not get past it. He looks for forgiveness, but cannot find it. It is a past that Zavala needs to learn to let go. And by the end of his 2 weeks, he apologizes to himself. He forgives. Sophia tells him there's nothing even to forgive. It is not his fault. Hakim would not want him to mourn. He would just want his dad to be proud of his courage standing up to those fallen. And Keitel struggles with the fact that her way of ruling is not that which Cabal have ever done. She feels she is betraying her roots, her culture. Cabal always valued conquest, war, expansion through destruction. Her nightmare is Gaul, her mentor, her leader. He tells her she's not acting in a way honorable of Cabal, leading her people to dishonor. She is no longer the Keitel that Gaul trained, but throughout this season she separates herself from Gaul's legacy. The same Gaul who abandoned his people at Torabottle, who let the empire fall to ruin. She decides to build her own empire, which will be shaped by peace and the alliances and coalitions she forms, instead of the people she conquers. And then Callus. This season is his ascension to being a true disciple of the Witness. And by the end, we do sever his tie to that pyramid ship, but it is too late. He has become this harbinger of the Witness. I think this season used nightmares in a very unique way to forward the plot, manifesting that which is destroying the insides of the characters we love, letting us understand how they feel in a way we have not seen before. It also sort of retcons nightmares from Shadowkeep, actually making them an interesting villain instead of the kind of bland and boring one they were before. In Shadowkeep, they were supposed to be our personal nightmares, and I don't think that comes across as scary because we're not going to react in the same way that they can write for Crow, Zavala, Keitel. All in all, the season was a great way to see our beloved characters in a new light and to have them develop and become stronger in preparation for Lightfall. What else did we get this season? Well, Solar 3.0, which I think is probably my favorite of the subclass reworks. This season of the Haunted weapons were super cool looking. The detail and design, amazing. Guns themselves, very boring. Not gonna use any of these really ever, except maybe in the most niche of circumstances. But that's where the returning opulent weapons came in pretty clutch. Austringer, Drang, and Beloved are all PvP staples, just like they were before. And the incandescent Callus mini tool became the PvE meta to sync up with that Solar 3.0. The nightmare containment activity was soul crushing. Having to do so many of them for seasonal challenges and the title, and just the lack of variety that it provided, just switching up the boss every week for 3 weeks, not enough. But the actual Severance missions were cool, even if for the 6 weeks it was just variations of the 3 different missions. And the finale was really fun and kind of a nice throwback to the Leviathan raid. And adding a patrol zone in a season, unheard of. Awesome. People complain about reused content, but this is how it should be done. Also releasing this season was the new Duality dungeon, which absolutely fucking ruled. Granted, it is a very buggy dungeon, especially with the whole bell mechanic, but all 3 encounters are non-stop action, exciting. They have a higher enemy density than pretty much any other activity in the game. For sure, a highlight of the season for me. All in all, I think people will remember this season fondly once that stain of the grind for weapons and the constant nightmare containments leaves their brain. Hopefully what they'll remember is the character development and the emotion that made them feel. And that's your Haunted Recap. Like, comment, subscribe down below. Peace.